Yields. At this time, the chair will recognize the gentlelady from Illinois, Ms. Kelly.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the chair and ranking member for hosting this committee, and thank you to Chair Sarek for being here today and the CPSC commissioners. I'm a mother and a grandmother, so I know how quickly children can get a hold of small items like button batteries. Making simple changes in safety standards for products with these small batteries will save children's lives. That's why I was so pleased last Congress when my legislation, Reeses Law, was signed into law. The bill required the CPSC to issue safety standards for button and coin cell batteries. Reeses Law is now almost fully implemented, with the labeling requirements being enforced starting in September of this year. Mr. Chair, can you provide an update on the enforcement of Reeses Law? Are companies complying, and have any issues arisen?
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. As you said, Reeses Law was such an important piece of legislation that was passed focused on button cell batteries. When children swallow button cell batteries, it can eat through their esophagus, causing lifelong injuries and even death. So, the 5,000 trips to emergency room we see each year, Reeses Law is designed to stop that. As you were alluding to, portions of the Reeses Law has gone into effect already. Some of it went to effect by operation of law with respect to packaging, and then with respect to the compartments that are in there, we are actively enforcing. We are looking at the marketplace, making sure that people are complying with the law right now. So we are in that process, and then the last part you're talking about with respect to labeling will go into effect later on this year. And then we have just started a new rulemaking to take a look at toys and applying what we have learned from Reeses Law to toys, because Reeses Law really focused in on things like remote controls and making sure the batteries don't fall out of those general products.
And how will the 6% cuts for the agency's budget impact the enforcement of this bipartisan law, or really the other things that you're trying to do?
It will just slow everything down. It will make it more likely that violative products get into consumers' homes without a cop on the beat. Things just go forward, especially when you start talking about, e-commerce and overseas manufacturers who may not be worried about U.S. laws because they're not based here. So they'll be selling directly to consumers through these platforms, and we won't be there to stop them, and the platforms themselves won't be responsible.
Thank you. Now, shifting gears a little bit, my district is home to the Port of Chicago, generating nearly $500 million in economic activity for the region. The CPSC plays a critical role in port surveillance and ensuring that imported consumer products are safe. Over the last few years, we've seen a rise in direct-to-consumer shipments from overseas, presenting challenges to the surveillance of imports. What challenges do low-value direct-to-consumer goods cause for CPSC and port surveillance?
So products that are shipments under $800, so-called de minimis imports, we've seen a tremendous growth in those. Last year, about $1 billion coming into the country, rising from $500 million in 2019. These are going directly to consumers. It's incredibly hard to track. CPSC is working on an e-filing program to be able to require importers to be able to provide more data to the agency to be able to track and identify even de minimis products. But honestly, given the number of them, without the support at the ports, as you said, and without ways to be able to put some of the onus on the platforms that we're doing that these are being bought through, it is a huge problem.
I'm gonna thank you for your response. I know you don't want to see any funding cuts because that will definitely affect the agency, but other than more funding, which you've made clear is needed, what can Congress do to ensure you have the tools to enforce safety standards on import products?
So I think what you see now for most import products, you're seeing a lot of the e-commerce going through the platforms they're being sold through. So I think it's a combination. We've talked about increasing their civil penalties, but it's also making sure that those platforms are taking responsibility for the products that are being offered on their sites. I think there should be burdens upon them to be able to make sure the products that they're selling are meeting mandatory standards and are safe for consumers. That is something that Congress could step in and do. Also making sure that no matter where consumers are going, they have uniform safety protections across the board.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you, and I yield back.
The gentlelady yields back. At this time, I recognize the distinguished Hoosier from Indiana, Representative Bouchon.
When she said distinguished, you all look that way. You didn't look at me. I don't know if you're trying to tell me something or what. No. Thank you to Chair Bilirakis, who's sitting next to me, for calling today's hearing. The Consumer Product Safety Commission is clearly tasked with helping every Hoosier be safe.